It's my favourite time of year. And no, it's not Christmas. It's only friggin' Eurovision. What's up, beautiful people, and welcome back to the channel. So today we've got a very exciting video. As you know, Eurovision is just around the corner when you're watching this. The final is very, very soon. We'll be finding out who has won 2023. Last year I filmed my reaction and it did really well, so I thought I would definitely cover it on my channel this year. And I thought I'd kick things off by doing my predictions, which I don't normally do. I've done it on the podcast before. If you don't know, I have a podcast, my friend Alex, shameless plug. We've done it before where we've listened to all the songs and then predicted where we think they're gonna come in the contest and rate them out of 10, that sort of thing, and our opinion on them basically. And that is what I'm going to do for you guys today, as when you're watching this, as I said, the final is right round the corner, very, 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 very soon. Without further ado, let's just kick things off. Who do I think could potentially win Eurovision 2023? I thought I'd kick things off with the UK song, our song. I really, really like this. I'm actually going to give it an 8 out of 10. The only reason I'm giving it an 8 and not 10, in terms of a song, like, it's not the most unique song I've ever heard, and I feel like the reason why we did so well last year and did so much better than we have done in the past few years is because I thought our song was really unique, whereas this is a bit more like your classic sort of dance tune. But I do really like it. It's a catchy sort of break-up anthem, and we always love that, so I think it might come in the top 5, if not top 10. Maybe that is too ambitious, I don't know, because it's catchy, it's fun, it's something that you'll remember, but the only reason it's not getting a full 10 is because it's not too much different than anything we haven't heard before, but I do prefer it to a lot of other songs that we've had in the past. Moving on to France. I quite liked this, it had a very dramatic start, and she's got such a nice voice as well. I sound like Simon Cowell. I'm not a singing expert, obviously, but I really liked the start of it. I like it when countries do songs in their language because it kind of represents their country a little bit more. And the bit I did like was the bridge where she did that big high note. I thought that was amazing. Loved that. So I'm going to give it a 6. It was a 5 and then she did that and it was a 6. So I bumped it up to a 6. And the only reason it's a 6 and not any higher than that is because apart from the big high note, it was kind of the same all the way through. I like songs that build up a bit. It did a bit in the beginning, but as for the rest of it was kind of all the same, which made it not as memorable. I didn't love it, I didn't hate it, and I thought the start was really pretty. In terms of where I think it might come, I think it might come in the top 10. I think it might come 10th place. France, they tend to do reasonably well. And just FYI, my rankings of all these songs might change when I do my live reaction to the final, because I will be doing that, because sometimes it can be completely different on the final night, like the performance can make a difference and the staging, whereas this is just based off me listening to the songs. Next up we have Germany. Out of all of the ones I've listened to so far, this was my least favourite, and anyone who knows me knows the only genre of music I really just cannot get into is heavy metal. Sorry, I know some people love it and it's their bread and butter, but I just can't get into it quite personally. Personally, it's just not really my sort of music, so I did give this a 3. Might sound harsh. I have given it quite a high prediction as to where I think it might come in the competition, and I said about maybe 4th place in the top 5, because even though I don't like this type of music, songs like this tend to do quite well. And I gave it a 3 instead of a 0 because I thought the music video was cool. It had confetti and stuff like that, like the gold confetti, and I thought it was cool. I thought the music video was cool, and I gave it a high prediction because songs like that weirdly do tend to do quite well. Maybe because they're a little bit different, I don't know, but personally it's not my sort of genre, as posh as that sounds. Anyway, moving on. Italy. I didn't give this one too high of a rating purely because it wasn't that memorable. I actually gave it a 4. I know that might sound a little bit harsh, but I liked it. I liked the instrumental, the piano, but for me, in terms of a song, I couldn't really tell you how it went. It just wasn't that catchy or memorable, and it just wasn't really giving me anything, it just didn't build up. It was kind of the same all the way through, so I did give it a 4. But in terms of where I think it might come, I don't know if it's good enough to be top 10, so I've put it in roughly maybe 13th to 15th place, so a little bit further down. But you never know. Eurovision, I think, can be quite unpredictable. Who would have thought we would have been 2nd last year? Mad. Let's move on to Spain. I really liked the harmonies in there. I know that makes me sound like I'm trying to be a singing expert. I'm not, but I thought that bit was really pretty, and that was in the beginning, and I really liked that. I thought that was really pretty because I think a song really needs to capture you from the beginning, otherwise you're just not going to want to carry on listening to it. Maybe that's just me. Is that harsh? I don't know. Anyway, again, it was one of those songs where it was kind of the same all the way through. Didn't really build up. It was quite slow. I prefer the upbeat songs, more upbeat songs. I'm not really a ballad fan. This wasn't really a ballad, I would say, but it was more just a little bit slow. Like, it didn't really build up. But the beginning was pretty. So I did give it a 5. And again, I think it's going to come roughly the same place as Italy, like 15th place, because it just wasn't like memorable. Do you know what I mean? It wasn't like, oh my god, I love this, I would like listen to this again. And the 6th one that is going to be in the final is last year's champion, Ukraine. I actually gave this quite a high score, not gonna lie. It's got a 7 out of 10 because I really liked it. Out of all of the ones here, it was one of the ones I actually really liked the most. As I said, I love songs with a dramatic start, and it had a really modern feel to it, and I really like that. I really like the more sort of modern songs, because I think they are more likely to win because they're a bit more like unique, and people are more likely to listen to them now rather than doing the sort of song that's kind of been done a million times. It had some really like cool like keyboard instrumental stuff in it, which I really liked. In terms of where I think it might come, maybe 4th place. I think it might actually do really well. Whether they'll win again, I don't know. That is quite rare for Eurovision, but you never know. It could. But if it doesn't win, I think it will still do well. I think it might be in the top 5. So I've put it in like 4th place. Right, it's actually a couple of days later now, and the rest of the lineup for the final has been announced. As when I filmed the first part of this video, only like 6 of them had, so we have got the rest of the full shebang. So next we have Austria. This very much gave me like 2000s vibes, like the sort of song you would hear in a chick flick film. I liked the opera sort of bit in it, and it was unique. It's very Eurovision though. It was like unique but very Eurovision. I actually gave it an 8. I was quite generous with this one. I quite liked it. And in terms of where I think it will come, I think it will come about 7th place. I don't know if it's good enough to make the top 5. I think it will come around maybe 7th. I'm thinking around that, but I liked it. I liked the fact it was fun. It was fun. It was sassy. 2000s chick flick vibes. Liked it. Right, next we've got Portugal. I thought this song had a very sassy vibe to it. I quite liked it in that sense, but other than that, it was a little bit forgettable, I'm not gonna lie. It was good build up, and then it was like slow, and it was kind of a bit very much like stop and starty sort of thing, which I don't mind sometimes, but for this I was a bit like, a little bit forgettable, I would say, but I quite like the build-up. It changed a little bit throughout, which I quite liked. I gave it a 6, because I didn't think it was terrible, but I didn't think it was, like, amazing. I think it will come around 10th in that sort of area. I don't know if it's, like, top 5 material, but maybe 10th. Maybe not even 10th, maybe a little bit lower, but we shall see. Right, Switzerland. I've got mixed feelings about this one. I really liked the piano at the beginning. For some reason, the song reminded me of something James Arthur would put out as a single. Do you know what I mean? It really gave me that sort of vibe. I'm not gonna lie, it was a little bit boring. I got a little bit bored listening to it. It wasn't like, oh, I love this. So I gave it a 5. I know it might seem a bit harsh because I just didn't love it, didn't hate it. Just thought it was a little bit boring. A bit generic as well, I hate to say. And I put it quite far down in 17th place. I think it will go definitely in the last 10, maybe even lower than that in the 20s, maybe even last, because it was just a little bit boring. Poland. I really liked this one. This was one of my favourites. If I had to pick like a top 5, this one's definitely up there. Whether it will come top 5 in the competition, I don't know. My opinion of the songs and what I'm ranking them isn't going to be the same as what I think they'll come in the competition, because I'm just kind of judging it off like previous years, and I think this will come about 11th place. But I did give it an 8 out of 10 because I really liked it. Reason being, it was just really holiday vibes, beach vibes, holiday vibes, and I lived for that. I really liked it. It was the sort of thing I'd listen to on the beach in Marbella. It sounds like something Clean Bandit would make, that sort of song. It really gave me Clean Bandit vibes, you know, like with like Jess Glynn back in the day. Right, Serbia. Again, a lot of these songs have some really like beautiful piano bits at the beginning, which I really liked about this one. But in that particular bit, there was like some other music in the background, and it kind of ruined that a little bit, and I didn't really like it in that sense. But the music changed really dramatically, like about halfway through, and I thought that was really cool. The unique part was like the whispering sort of singing. It was very unique, this one. It was definitely very unique, which I think sometimes does well at Eurovision. It kind of can be a hit or miss. I think you do have to be unique for it. For some reason, I kind of don't think this will do that well. I kind of put it quite far down at 19th place, and I gave it a 4 out of 10 because it just wasn't really for me. But I thought the music change was quite cool, and the whispering was quite unique, which you never know. I could be completely wrong about it becoming 19th place, because you do have to be unique for Eurovision. I do stand by that. Anyway, Cyprus. I really liked this one. It was a very motivational song. It kind of really reminded me of like a football, like a sports sort of World Cup song. It was very like uplifting and motivational, and the high notes, they were mad. It was a very dramatic build up at the start, which I really like. So I actually gave it an 8 out of 10. I quite like this one. I think it will do quite well. I think it will come about 8th place, sort of in that area. Maybe slightly lower, but I think 8th place. I think about 8th place, maybe the top 10. Next, we have Sweden. I'm just going to say this now. Sweden's going to win. I loved this song, I have to say. What I love about her is that, like, when she performs, she doesn't need backing dancers or anything like that. It's literally just her and her voice voice, and I actually gave the song a 9 out of 10. The only reason I didn't give it a 10 is because it's not Euphoria. I do love the song, but it's not as good as Euphoria. Nothing will beat Euphoria. That's an anthem. Come on. I'm not saying I do kind of want her to win. I know she's won before, so I kind of would like to see someone else win. That's literally the only reason. But I wouldn't be mad if she won because it's a great song. I think the only reason why she might not win is because people might be a little bit more inclined to not vote for her because she's won before. That is literally the only reason I can think of. Based off the song, I think she could win. So who knows? Might have a double champion on our hands. That is one of my predictions. I think it's going to be between Sweden, and I will get on to who I think could beat them, who else could win in a little bit. But next we have Albania. Again, this song had a really dramatic start, which I really like, and a song always has to hook me from the start, otherwise I just get bored. I get bored of songs very easily. I'm a bit of a slow burner when it comes to songs. It was very emotional, which I liked about this one. Again, I didn't love it, I didn't hate it. I gave it a 6 because I really liked how emotional it was, and emotional songs always tend to do very, very well, so I did put it 3rd, which is quite high up. That's quite ambitious, but people like the emotional stuff. It's Eurovision. People like the getting in the feels of the song. Let's move on to Belgium. This really gave me 2000s like club sort of vibe, like 2000s clubs / pop. The sort of song that RuPaul would release and that they would have to lip sync to on Drag Race, that sort of thing. It was very fun, but it kind of gave me that sort of vibe. 7 out of 10 because I actually really liked it. Was good fun. I really liked it, but I don't think it will do that well in the competition. I have to say 20th place I put it at. I know that sounds really bad, purely because it's just not unique enough. It's not unique. It's a little bit sort of samey, but I thought it was good fun, so I gave it quite a high rating on my half. But in terms of the competition, I think that will be quite far down at the bottom. Sorry. Armenia. I gave this a 6 out of 10 because it was a very pretty song, especially at the start. But the bit I didn't like, it was just a bit slow and took a while to build up. So it didn't really like grip me enough. Yeah, just a little bit too slow and not really much build up for my liking. And I've put it quite far down in the competition as well, again, because I just didn't think it was that like unique. I think this will be quite near the bottom. I put it like 22nd place, which is quite bad. That's like basically last, but I don't know. I think it will be in the 20s, if not maybe a little bit higher. Didn't love it, didn't hate it, just a little bit slow for my liking. I did give it a 6, which is quite nice. Got Moldova. Again, I didn't love this one. The whispery stuff at the beginning was quite cool. I thought that was quite unique. I really liked the bit where the music like dropped, like the beat dropped and it like went into a different bit, and it was a very good build up in that sense. I really liked the build up in this one. That was probably the best thing about it. I gave it a 5 as I just didn't really love it or hate it. I don't think it's unique enough to do really, really well. I put it quite far down in 16th place, sort of that sort of area. I just think there's other songs that will top that. Next up, we have Norway. Now, if there's any song that is going to beat Lorene's song, Tattoo, it's going to be this one. I think Norway and Sweden are going to be very much neck and neck, and I think it's either going to be one of them that is going to win. If Sweden doesn't win, Norway's got it in the bag. If Norway doesn't win, Sweden's got it in the bag. I loved this song. I loved it. I gave it a 9. Again, I just loved how dramatic and empowering it was. The start bit really reminded me of a Christmas song. I don't know why. It really reminded me of a Christmas song at the beginning. And it reminds me of another song I think I've heard before. It sounded really familiar, but I can't quite pinpoint what song it reminds me of. Maybe it is the Christmas song. I don't know. The Christmas song, I can't remember the name of it, that has loads of like opera sort of stuff in it. But I loved it. I thought it was so dramatic. I think that could win. And that's not just because I liked it. I think other people like it as well. And again, I'm kind of going off social media when I say who I think's going to win as well. And another reason why I think Loreen or Norway have it in the bag is because I've seen the most people on TikTok talk about the fact that they could win. As in, like, a lot of people are saying they're going to win, basically. That's just my prediction, as well as the fact that I do love both those songs. Estonia. Now, this one was really pretty. I really liked this one. It was very authentic. It wasn't much like backing track. It was literally just her and the piano, and I really liked that. I liked the echoey bit at the beginning. I actually gave it a 7 because I really liked it, because it's so like pretty and quite dramatic as well, and very authentic, and I think people like that. I kind of put it roughly in 3rd or 4th place, so quite high up. I think Estonia are going to do quite well this year. Oh, we are cha-cha-charing into Finland now. If you see what I did there. I gave this a 5 out of 10, right, because I thought it was really unique, but for me, I wasn't like, oh, I would download this off Spotify. It wasn't like gripping my attention that much. It really reminded me of being like at a rave at a festival like Creamfields or Reading or something like that, which I quite liked. That's kind of what made it a little bit like different. I think it could do pretty well, maybe 6th place. People like a bit of the rave stuff. It was fun. Right, next up we have Czech Republic. What is it with all these like empowering songs this year? I'm so here for it. And this was another one. I did give it a 5 out of 10 though. It's like, I didn't love it, but I did really like how empowering it was. The music video and the style of the song sort of gave me the same vibes as Toy, which won a few years ago. And because of that, I think it could do quite well. I've put it 5th place. The style is very unique and that did win before. People do like that, so I've kind of put it there. I'm living for the empowering songs this year, I have to say. Right, we've got Australia. This one had a really funky start, which I quite like. Again, it really gave 2000s club vibes, especially at the start, because then it went into rock, which was really different. It was very much a mixture between those two types of music, which was, again, unique. Like, I'm here for that. I thought the guitar solo was cool, but then it went into like a bit of scream, like heavy metal, and as I've said before, that sort of style just isn't for me, so I bumped it back down to a 3. Yeah, that style of music just isn't for me, but I did say it could possibly get maybe 9th place, because again, those songs tend to do quite well. It's a bit different, it's very unique. Right, Lithuania. This didn't do it for me. I'm sorry, no, it really didn't. I got bored listening to it. I gave it a 3. It was really pretty. It was a nice little ballad, but it just didn't grip me. I'm sorry, there was no build up and I just got a little bit bored, and I actually put it down as possibly last place, like down at the bottom in the 20s, because I just don't think it's memorable enough. It's not memorable. I think there are other songs that are just gonna top it. Right, Israel. Weird story. This song came up on my shuffle on Spotify and I had no idea it was a Eurovision song until recently, until I was like going through all the songs and I was like, oh my god, I've heard this before and I love this song, and I gave it an 8 out of 10 because I was like, I love this. I've listened to it before I knew it was a Eurovision song, which is really weird. Especially love the start. The start is so dramatic. I love that. I love it. Again, it's so empowering. What is it with all these empowering songs? I'm living for it. I actually think this will do really well. I don't think it will overtake Sweden and Norway, but I think it's going to be up there with them, maybe 3rd place, because I think it will do really well and it's quite popular. I swear I've heard it on the radio a couple of times, and I've heard it lots on TikTok as well. That's another place I've heard it. I was like, mad, this is a Eurovision song. I had no idea. Slovenia. This song was really catchy. I quite liked that. Again, it was very poppy 2000s vibes, which is fun, but again, not unique enough to win. I gave it a 4 out of 10 because it was fun, but tomorrow I couldn't tell you how it went. Like, do you know what I mean? It didn't stick with me, and I think this could possibly be down further at the bottom, maybe last or 3rd to last, maybe around that area. It's like good fun, it's catchy, but it's not unique enough to like top the others. That is all the songs we have that are going to be in the final. Thank you so much, guys, for watching this video. Please give this a thumbs up if you do enjoy my Eurovision content. Please don't forget to tune in to my live reaction. It will be up on my channel next week and you'll get my opinion on the final. Cannot wait for Eurovision. It's so exciting. Love it, and I cannot wait to celebrate it with you guys on this channel. So cannot wait. I shall see you then.